In this demonstration for BarTender integration software, we are going to set up the BarTender integration to Business Central. At this point, you have BarTender integration software installed and registered. The first thing we're going to do is click the magnifying glass at the top right of the page, and when the search box opens, we're going to type BarTender Integration Setup. As we type, our results populate, and we can select BarTender Integration Setup from the results list, and this will open up the BarTender Integration Setup page. You'll notice that Enable BarTender Label Integration is toggled off, so we're going to start off by enabling BarTender Integration Setup. You'll notice that it automatically toggled on Enable Logging and automatically populated the 3 variables you see here for copies, layout file name, and printer name. For Enable Logging, this keeps a record of all requests sent to the BarTender service and the responses back from the server. This can be toggled on or off at any time. If this is toggled off, the print jobs that you send to BarTender will not be logged in the BarTender Label Integration log. So please keep that in mind when you're thinking about toggling this on or off. We also have Enable BarTender Integration per label. You can see this is toggled off. If I toggle this on, it's going to gray out our BarTender integration service name and the 3 variables. That's because now it's toggled on for each label. So when you create your BarTender labels, which we review in another video in this series, you would have an integration tab on each label. However, for demonstration purposes, we are going to toggle that off and use one integration for every label in the company. Okay. Next thing we're going to review are the 3 variables. So we have a copies variable that's automatically populated with copy. We have a BarTender layout file variable that's automatically populated with BarTender layout. And finally, we have a BarTender printer name variable that's automatically populated with printer name. Now let's go to the server and we're going to see where these variables are put into the software and where we're going to get the BarTender integration service name. So let's open up the server. You can see I have the BarTender Designer software open. And to open up the integration builder, you simply click Tools and then Integration Builder. I have it open already. Once the integration builder opens, then we're going to say Create New Integration. We'll select Web Service and then select OK. This will allow us to set up a new service. Now you can see under the Service tab here, we have a service name, a port, and a URL path. For the port, you'll need to decide with your IT team what port to use, and the port will need to be opened in the firewall for traffic. On the URL path, host, you see here in brackets, that's going to be replaced by the server name.domain.com : port that you see up here in the port path. You may need to work with your IT team. If you're going to use the public IP address or the server name, they both might be needed to be opened up in the router or in the firewall as well, depending on how your system is set up. For now, we're going to copy this URL because we're going to use it later when we go back to Business Central. So let's copy that and keep that in our cache. All right, so the next couple of settings that we're going to review are on the Print Document tab down here. So let's go down to Print Document. You'll notice when we click Print Document, it's going to open up this section that's got multiple tabs. So the first thing that we're going to set up is going to be this Document tab. This is where we're going to put our document layout for variable. So let's click Browse and select the path for where we're saving our BarTender labels. We'll do that now. Let's go back up there. That was a bad click. And then we'll say BarTender layout. Say open. We'll pick one and we'll say open. But what we're going to wind up doing is deleting the actual file. We'll type that back in. And after we type our backslash, that's where we're going to type the variable name that we have in Business Central in between percentage signs. So we'll do percentage BarTender layout %. If we tab out, we can click browse and it's still going to, you'll see it'll still open BarTender layout. Perfect. So let's cancel that. So that's the first variable that we had in the integration setup. You see what we're doing with it there. If we go to print options, we can see the other two. We have printer and copies. right off the bat, printer puts a printer in there. The reason we're using a variable here is so for here, we can just put percentage printer name percentage. And no matter what printer we're using in Business Central, it will always go to this directory to pull the correct printer name. So we'll type it exactly as we see it in Business Central in between percent. And then for copies, we'll do the same thing. It's going to be percent copies percent. We'll tab out of that. And then once we're done here, now we're ready. We have the URL in our cache. Now we can go back to Business Central. And we can paste this in. And now we can replace host with either the external IP address, the server name, colon, the port. So it would look something like this. Colon 80, and then the rest of the integration service name. And now you're communicating with the web service created in the BarTender Integration Builder. Thank you for watching this demonstration for BarTender Integration software. Please check out our other videos in the BarTender Integration Series.